So I recently read and recently went over Catechism of the Catholic Church 2270. Let me read you a little bit of what the Catechism of the Catholic Church says about abortion. You guys see that? Literally explicitly talks about abortion. Check this out. And then we're going to dive into air quotes Catholics for choice. Catechism of the Catholic Church 2270 to 2275. 5 paragraphs. On abortion. Human life must be respected and protected absolutely from the moment of conception. From the moment of his existence, a human being must be recognized as having the rights of a person, among which is the inviolable right of every innocent life being to life. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I consecrated you. Jeremiah 1:5. My frame was not hidden from you when I was made in secret, intricately wrought in the depths of the earth. Psalms 139:15. 2271. Since the first century, the Church has affirmed the moral evil of every procured abortion. This teaching has not changed and remains unchangeable. Direct abortion, that is to say, abortion willed either as an end or a means, is gratingly contradictory to the moral law. You shall not kill the embryo by abortion and shall not cause the newborn to perish. God, the Lord of life, has entrusted to men the noble mission of safeguarding life, and men must carry it out in a manner worthy of themselves. Life must be protected with the utmost care from the moment of conception. Abortion and infanticide are abominable crimes. 2272. Formal corporation in abortion constitutes a grave offense. The Church attaches the canonical penalty of excommunication to this crime against human life. A person who procures and completed abortion incurs excommunication late tonight. I'm Middle Eastern. I don't speak Latin, nor is it my liturgical language, but that's Aramaic. By the very commission of the offense and subject to the conditions provided by canon law, the Church does not thereby restrict the scope of mercy. Rather, she makes clear the gravity of the crime committed, the irreparable harm done to the innocent who is put to death, as well as to the parents and the whole of society. 2273. The inalienable rights to life of every innocent human individual is a constitutive element of a civil society and its legislation. The inalienable right of the person must be recognized and respected by civil society and the political authority. These human rights depend neither on a single individual's nor on parents, nor do they represent a concession made by society and the state. They belong to human nature and are inherent in the person by virtue of the creative act from which the person took his origin. Among such fundamental rights, one should mention in the regards every human being's right to life and physical integrity from the moment of conception until death, being natural death, right? The moment of positive law deprives a category of human beings of the protection which civil legislation ought to accord them. The state is denying the equality of all before the law. When the state does not place its power at the service of rights of each citizen, and in particular of the more vulnerable, the very foundation of a state based on laws are undermined. As a consequence of the respect and protection which must be ensured of the unborn child from the moment of conception, the laws must provide appropriate penal sanctions for every deliberate violation of the child's rights. 2274. Since it must be treated from conception as a person, the embryo must be defended in its integrity, cared for, and healed, as far as possible, like any other human being. Prenatal diagnosis is morally licit if it respects the life and integrity of the embryo and the human fetus and is directed towards its safeguarding or healing as an individual. It is gravely opposed to the moral law when this is done with the thought of possibly inducing an abortion. Depending upon the results, a diagnosis may not be the equivalent of a death sentence. And the last one, 2275, one must hold as lucid procedures carried out on the human embryo, which respect the life and integrity of the embryo and do not involve disproportionate risk for it, but are directed towards its healing, the improvement of its condition of health, or its individual survival. It is immoral to produce human embryos extended for exploitation as disposable biological material. This is talking about IVF. Certain attempts to influence chromosomic or genetic inheritance are not therapeutic, but are aimed at producing human beings selected according to sex or other determined qualities, such as manipulations, are contrary to the personal dignity of the human being and his integrity and identity, which are unique and unrepeatable. So that's the Catechism of the Catholic Church on abortion. For any Catholic, that should be a done deal. It quotes scripture, the Didache, a whole bunch of other things.